All right, folks. So thank you for hanging on with us as we try to get your timing towers up, which I do believe that we have your timing towers up now where you're going to be able to see that they're on stream. But we do appreciate that. Thank you for everyone coming back. So let's jump right back into this thing. And as we go back, James McRae right now holding that top spot. Russ, I watched him a bit in practice. Really seemed like a driver that come out, put some time in on this track, and he is going to be one to watch for.
Yeah, for sure. Over the last couple of weeks, since this season has started, James has been one of them ones that, we've talked about him a lot. He's found himself up front and in contention, and just those consistent finishes allowed him to take over the points lead from Truth Hoke last week. So, going to be really interesting to see how he's able to hold on to this car throughout this 45 lap battle at Sonoma.
Yeah, I agree, and it's really great to have James with us, right? So it's really shown up early on, and we talked a little bit about those points. So I'm going to pop those points up as qualifying is still going on for all of you folks out there. So let's see if we can pop this up. We're going to try to hide that track map for you, but we're going to talk about that here in a second. But as you can see, James McRae is leading your points. Now, he is tied with Andrew Teft. Andrew having a fantastic win, already having a win on the season. Plus, Russ, he was your championship winner last year. Truth Hoke right there in third. Dennis Kane in fourth. Troy Thomas is going to be in fifth. So then you're going to be followed by Alex, Kirby, Gary, Jesse, and Pindell, who had a fantastic run last week. He is going to round out your top 10 there in points.
Yeah, great run last week there by Christopher Pindell at Indianapolis, able to secure that win and lock himself into the playoffs. Now he can kind of just go out and have fun for the rest of these weeks leading up to the playoffs. But it's going to be a battle for this points championship coming the end of this, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching these guys duke it out.
Yeah, and anytime that you come out here on these road courses, it's always kind of a mixed bag, as now it looks like qualifying is over, Russ. So let's see if we can go in. We're going to show your qualifying results, and we're going to walk through this, and we're just going to cover your times for you. So McRae is going to be your pole sitter. That is your points leader at a 16.107. I think he ran a 16.4 in practice, so fantastic job by him. 16.1. Troy Thomas, 3/10 off there. He is in second. Andrew Teft is going to be in third. Bowman in fourth. Dennis Kane in fifth. Bryce Kobler. Now, Bryce is one of our network voices, so good to have him out here. Corey is going to be in seventh. Truth Hoke in eighth. Curtis is going to round out ninth, and then top 10 is going to be Eric Howard.
Yeah, Alan Bergen puts at P11, and then Aaron Marquis was the last driver in the field to lay down a lap for P12, and then Rob Yost, Ira Kohlhaas, Ed Jurgen, Kensley Smith, Chris Pindell, Hayden Malcolm, Trevor, and Kirby is going to round out this 20-car field here tonight.
Yeah, so we do have 20 cars out here. We're going to see how many of those are going to take your green flag. Now, we're going to hide these results because I want to show you what our schedule is going to look like for the rest of the season. So here we are. You can see that in green. We're here at Sonoma. Then we're going to go to New Hampshire, Nashville Super Speedway. That's going to be a great race. Dover is going to be a great race. Darlington, Texas. All of those tracks are going to line up your final four races for your championship. That's going to be Daytona, Kentucky, Auto Club, and Pocono. Russ, we talked about that last week where we thought that's kind of a crazy great final four races, but man, we've got short tracks. We've got this road course now. We've got a lot of racing to do before we're going to get to those championship races.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of those tracks, they're pretty much, anybody can win. So they're the kind of like that intermediate to upper speedway style track where, if you put the time in, you can find yourself in contention to win any of those weeks, and it's going to make it interesting for these points.
All right, so we talked about our points. We've talked about the schedule. We've talked a little bit about Sonoma. We're going to cover this next year. We're going to hop on board with some of these drivers as we go along because we really want to walk through, even though these rear suspensions are independent on these next-gen cars, man, they are loose under throttle. We'll walk through the elevation changes that we're going to have here tonight. We will walk through some of the gear changes and selections that some of these drivers makes, but as we go through here, Russ, and we have a long parade lap before we get to this green flag, it is now time, my friend. I picked first last week. I am going to let you pick first this week. I picked the winner last week. It is up to you now. Who are you taking tonight?
Well, James McCrae's obviously been showing a lot of speed here all throughout practice and then qualifying it on P1. You can never count out Andrew Teff there in the 98. He's usually pretty good on these road courses, but I think I'm going to go with a sleeper tonight. And I was talking to this guy earlier, and I told him that he better show up and show out for me tonight because I've seen him on these road courses. He's been very consistent. He usually runs really, really well at road courses, and he told me if I wanted to make my pick and to save my ass, not to pick him, but I'm going to pick him anyway. I'm going to go with that number 3 car, Troy Thomas. John, like I said, I've raced with this guy on road courses. He's very consistent, really mindful of his throttle control, and I think he's going to break through and pick up the W here tonight.
Man, I will tell you, Russ, you might have stolen my pick because I do know that Troy also has a GT3 league that he owns on Monday night, so he is no stranger to road courses. I do know that he feels very comfortable on them. So that might have been my pick, but I've already picked McCrae this year. I can't do that. I'll tell you, before we go green, I think I'm going to pick a driver that I know is great on road courses. That's that 29 car, Gary Bowman. I am picking him tonight for the win. So here we go, Russ. They are going to go around this track, folks, and we are going to see if we can pop up this track map for you. James McCrae bringing them here to 45 laps around Sonoma Raceway. So here we go.
Wine country, buddy.
James McCrae under throttle. Man, he is going to get a fantastic jump. Troy Thomas on that right-hand side, he is going to get a nice jump also. Teft is going to slot in. And let's see if we can go back here a little bit further. Bowman is right on the back end of him. You got the 30 machine behind him. So everybody looks like they're sliding in. Truth Hoke is now off track. Oh, he's going to get caught on that berm, Russ.
I was going to say, Truth told me earlier, he said, don't focus on me too much here tonight because I'm going to show you how to not race road courses. He's not going to have a lot of fun here.
And it looks like the frame is caught on the berm. Truth is now off of that berm, but he is going to be a long way behind right now as we stand. Already a second gap here. James McCrae taken off, and we are going to have some on-car kind of reviews where we're going to go through Sonoma. We'll take a lap down Sonoma with you. We'll let you know, especially in this next gen car, what you have to watch out for. But this very last turn, as you can see, a little bit of smoke as McCrae is going to lock those tires up. Really hard right-hander turn, almost, I mean, really one of the sharper turns on road courses, Russ. Really hard to get back on the throttle there.
Yeah, especially coming down that straightaway. That's one of the longer high-speed type of straightaways here at Sonoma, and then leading into that that hairpin corner there, coming back to the line, you can lock them up very, very easily if you're not paying attention.
Oh, we got another driver coming off, and that is going to be who was that went off? Was that Eric Howard? That was Eric Howard. There he is in that 76 machine, trying to get himself back on track. We were going to talk about that driver. I wanted to go right back here to this battle. Rob Yost in that 83 machine and Curtis Ecker. Curtis is not a surprising pick this season, Russ, but man, he has been putting in some fantastic performances. You can see him now yielding there to that 83 machine. That 83 picking up one additional spot. He's going to be a 7th. Push Ecker back to 8th, and now you can see Ed Jurgen coming up in that 92 machine. He's going to be a 9th. Now, Ed, not without his road course prowess as well, Russ. He's going to be a fast driver tonight.
Yeah, Ed's one of them ones that you got to watch out for pretty much anywhere you go. But, talking about Curtis Ecker, that's one driver, like I've said time and time again, you can really tell that he's been putting in the time to learn and understand these tracks a little bit better. He's really come into his own as of late. So really good to see him out there, and hopefully he gets himself a good finish too. But yeah, Ed Jurgen is one you always got to watch out for. But this type of a track, man, you got to make up your spots when you can make them up, or else you could lose the top of the field pretty quick.
Yeah, true. Oh, and there he goes, Curtis Ecker off. We were talking about him. He is going to be hard into that outside tire barrier. A lot of damage to the front grille of that car, so he is probably going to have to come down and pit. Now, they do have to. Everybody has to come down one time, so he might be okay if he can lip this thing along. But it did look like Russ. early on in this race, he was struggling a bit with some of these elevation changes. Seemed like he was getting gobbled up by some of those drivers behind him, and then finally going off track. So maybe not quite comfortable with Sonoma yet.
Well, and that's the thing, like I said, this track is very, very technical. It's got a lot of elevation change going uphill, going downhill, and that turn 2 and 3 right there, just past the start finish line, is probably one of the more technical and tricky areas, and we're probably going to see a lot of problems there tonight with these drivers because you're going up that hill, but you also have to be able to slow down to be able to make that corner. And a lot of guys, they tend to overdrive it, or they get on the brakes too hard and lock them up, or just flat out get loose. That's a very, very tough corner to manage lap after lap.
Throttle control is so very, very important here at Sonoma. As now we show that Eric Marquis has crashed. Russ, let's go back and take a look at Mr. Marquis and what has happened to him. So here he comes in the 41 machine. Again, he's going to start coming down this hard braking zone. Oh, he's just going to get loose under braking. You saw the car hop a little bit. He's back on the track, no harm, no foul. But you saw those rear tires hop and spin out. Now, earlier, it looked like we had a driver here in this 30 car all over the back end of Bowman, now about 5 seconds behind him. So something happened to him as well.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Bryce there, but, we'll have to maybe go back and take a look and see if we can find something, but definitely losing a lot of time here.
Yeah, let's see what happened to Bryce. He was all over the back end. Yeah, he just hopped up on that curb. It does look like he was able to slow it down. He saw that coming when he hit that curb. We do have Kinsley Smith as an off track as well. Let's see what happened to Kinsley in that 15 machine.
Down here into that hairpin.
This is such a difficult spot. Yeah, he's just got a lot of front brake in that car, and you put a lot of front brake in, and that's what's going to happen to you. Just over-rotate that rear.
That's kind of a...
We're live here, Russ, and the 30 off again in that exact same spot.
Yeah, like I said, that's definitely a tricky spot around here, but to see, to see the 15 there make that kind of a mistake is kind of unorthodox. We've watched Kinsley run these road courses quite a bit, and he's been very, very good at them and has dominated, like in the truck series at Lime Rock Park. We saw him dominate that race there, so he's definitely no slouch when it comes to these road courses. So for him to make that kind of that mistake under braking is really unorthodox. It just shows that it could happen to anybody.
It can happen to anybody, and now we have a battle. We are starting to heat up here. This is going to be for your third position. Andrew or Teft has it. And I think Gary Bowman, which is my pick, Russ, he wants it. But now, as we're looking at that top spot, we're gonna talk to you about lap times as we go around this track. Last lap, James McRae went purple. He ran a 1:16.75, but Troy with a 1:16.74. So Thomas was about a 2-second lead, Russ. He's starting to sneak into that as now the 29 is working on the back end of this 98 machine.
Are slowly starting to come in here. These guys are going to find just a little bit more grip. They're going to be able to get into their own zone, and you're going to start seeing guys making moves that they may not make at the beginning of these runs. And there's one thing we're going to have to watch too after these pit stops come around is they come back out on these fresh tires. They're going to have to really manage their throttle control and watch those fresh tires for a few laps until they start wearing themselves in.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like Alan Bergen is going to take that thing to the hauler. He is going to be out for the night. Kirby Wainscott still out there. He is in 19th. And then you've got Eric Marquis. We saw him a little bit earlier with that spin. He is in 19th. But right now we are looking at the 81 machine. Ira, he just got passed by Corey. Corey working his way forward now. He is in 12th. Truth is going to be in 11th. Now, Truth, we saw him earlier, Russ, hung on that curb, not able to get off. Man, he has got a long way to go. It looks like he's about 36 seconds back from your leader.
Yeah, when I was talking to Truth earlier, he definitely made it known that he was not comfortable out there, and being able to show that right off the bat is a tough break for Truth. But I want to know, I'm kind of wondering if something might have happened to Troy there. I mean, I'm noticing that gap to the lead is increased significantly and is still increasing.
Yeah,
I wonder if maybe Troy kind of got himself into a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, I think he slowed down just a bit, but now McRae went purple that last lap. He got a 16.2, Russ. So I just think he just turned a fantastic lap, about half a second faster than what the rest of the drivers were doing. But again, like you said, he is starting to pull away now in a big way. Now a 4-second gap that he is going to have on Troy Thomas. They're in second position. Let's see if we can go back and take a look at Kirby Wainscott as we show him as crashed. I just have a feeling this is going to be under heavy braking again, where he's going to rotate. Yeah, he's just going to miss that braking zone. And it looks like McRae is going to go by, put him a lap down, and he might have just gave way, I think, there to your leader.
Could have very well been. I mean, you know, if you're not comfortable out there, you're definitely trying not to get in the leader's way. So for him to just go ahead and pull off to the side like that, let him by, just shows the class that he's got right now.
Yeah, it really does. Now let's see if we can go on board. I want to take a look with James McRae. Now you can just see that's almost a blind turn, as those drivers have to watch how they put the power down. And here as well as now you can see another driver, that 41 machine, he is loose right in front of your leader. But again, just having to downshift, and downshifting really helps these cars, especially in these next gens, make the apex of those turns. You use that downshifting ability to really get rotation in this car so that you don't wear out the tires and overheat these brakes. Russ, he looks like he's just doing a fantastic job navigating these turns.
It just looks like he's got himself into his own little groove here. I mean, he's got a 4.5-second lead over Troy Thomas right now, and no real reason to push it any harder than he needs to. Just kind of run his own race at this point.
Yeah, so we're going to go around. So he is getting this hard right-hander, and you see how close he is staying to those tire barriers there on the right-hand side. Now we're going to go a lap around, as he is going to be almost wide open. You're going to have a left-hander, and then you have an elevation change. This is very, very tricky under braking as you're turning left and you're under heavy braking. This is super, super sensitive to the throttle actuation. So you can see that McRae is very patient. You can hear it, where he's not really standing on the throttle a lot, being very easy, waiting for traction before he gets on this throttle.
Yeah, that throttle control is really important. And like we saw, you know, or like you had said there, you know, going up that hill, you're under braking, you're turning, and you're downshifting. So you're doing three things that the car doesn't like you to do at the same time, especially with these next gens. So that's what makes this track so tricky and that corner so tricky.
Yeah, four-wheel brakes is what you're looking for, right? You want four-wheel traction and four-wheel brakes, so you want the maximum amount of contact patch on that ground. And it does look like McRae is just staying patient, staying within himself, and he's just kind of waiting, as now it does look like Troy is starting to chew away at that lead. Now, he had to get by some drivers. Let's see if we can go back and take a look at Bryce. It shows Bryce has now wrecked. This driver, we saw some speed in him a little bit earlier. He's all over the back end of Jurgen here. Dennis Kane right behind him. And same spot, that is 3 times for him, Russ.
Yeah, those you don't want to run over them curbs like that, because that will get your car out of shape faster than anything. I mean, if you got some GT3 or you know, normal road experience, you could usually abuse those curbs quite a bit. But with these next gens, you really can't do that. You got to try to make yourself stay clear of those curbs, because they'll loop you around really quick.
Under braking, that 20 car underneath of the 91. The 91 is going to give way, put Corey up another position. So Corey's going to move up in front of Hayden. He is now going to take over the 11th position. Hayden back to 12th. That was your closest battle here, Russ. But we're going to go back up here, because Bowman has not allowed Teft to get away by too much. Only 0.6 of a second is going to separate these two drivers.
Yeah, and if we know Andrew Teff like we do, you know, Bowman was right there fighting for it. But, you know, Andrew runs a really good defensive style race. You know, he runs his own line. He doesn't just kind of move out of the way. He doesn't come off of his line very much. So that makes it really difficult for somebody like Bowman to be able to make a move, you know, around him. Is going to force him to have to do it in a way that he may not be comfortable with doing.
Let's go back and take a look at Hayden. What has happened to Hayden? Just getting past there by Corey. Was it just trying to hang with Corey? And yeah, that's going to be, and we talked about that going up to that elevation change, just under braking, getting loose. He is back on track, but he's not the only one. What has happened to Kirby Wainscott in this 10 car?
like that same area that he had trouble the last time.
Yeah, it is the exact same spot, right? Just going wide. Truth Hope getting by now. Kirby having to slow down and allow Corey to get by as well. So he's going to lose a couple of positions. Man, this battle is waging on, and as it's waging on, they are not too far away from your second place driver there, Troy Thomas. They have started to track him down. All of these drivers about 5 seconds behind her. Troy is about 4.5 seconds behind your leader. Tef now about 6.5 seconds behind. But man, Bowman looks like he's starting to get stronger and stronger as this race goes along.
Yeah, if he wants to get by that 98, he's going to have to, you know, probably make it some kind of a dive move that really, I mean, may not be comfortable with making this early in the race, but you know, like we said, you know, Andrew tends to run a very defensive line when he races, and he's going to make you uncomfortable to make yourself get by him. But eventually, if you want to get by him, you're going to have to do something you're going to be uncomfortable doing.
Yeah, you can really see it. Does look like Andrew's getting in those turns a little bit harder than Bowman is. Bowman's staying extremely tight there to the curbs and the bump stops. So you can see now, Teft getting up. He is using every bit of that track that he can. This is a good spot to be able to gain time, as you can't let that car wash out just like Andrew does. It looks like Bowman is choosing to stay tight on the track. And what I mean by tight, Russ, is, you know, he's taking those wide entries, but he's staying extremely tight on the exits. And it looks like Andrew just is flowing a little bit better with that car right now.
They're looking very comfortable out there right now. I mean, you know, like I said, we've seen him run these road courses before, and you know, he's been pretty competitive and really consistent. So it's no surprise that Bowman's back there, just kind of, you know, hoping that Andrew makes some kind of a mistake.
Yeah, it might take a mistake to get this done. McRae now up to almost a 5-second lead over Troy Thomas. Now Curtis Ecker hitting the cones, as you see Andrew Teft making his way around. Now Ecker with some pretty heavy left front damage on that car has to give way there to Bowman. Bowman is going to get up this elevated braking zone that we talked about a little bit earlier, as all of these drivers try to track down Troy Thomas in second position.
Troy just kind of holding his own right now in P2, about almost 5 seconds behind your leader, James McRae. But you kind of see that gap shrink a little bit. You see it get down to about 3 seconds, and then you see it pick back up again. So just kind of holding his own right now, but these two guys behind him are not letting him get too far away either.
No, and it does look like we have some other drivers crash, Russ. Let's go back and take a look. Let's first look at Aaron Marquis here in the 41. He has had a tough night already. Not even a fender on the left front of that, and he's going to get off, and again, under throttle is going to get loose, and he is going to wreck that car back right onto that service road. Now let's go back and take a look at Truth Hoke in this 55. Truth, I know, is going to say something to me for showing all of these moments, but again, just under braking and just is going to over rotate that car, and he is going to actually hit the tire barrier.
To get steer clear of him.
Yeah, Corey had to take some evasive maneuvers. Now both of those drivers back on track. I don't think there's a lot of damage there to Hoke. Man, this driver in this 3 machine has done a great job already tonight. He has, as now you can see the 41 of Aaron Marquis. Now he's going to get sideways and go in front of some other drivers.
Aaron is having a very difficult time right now, it would seem.
Yeah, we're going to go back here to this battle here for third position. The 29 of Gary Bowman putting a ton of pressure on this 98 car. Now, if you are Gary, and folks, as we look at this, these drivers should not change tires. They're going to come in for fuel only on this next-gen car on road courses. Your faster laps are going to be turned in on some older tires. It takes a couple of laps for these tires to come in, so you're better off just getting fuel, filling this thing up, and getting back out here on the track. Does Gary, if he's got better pace than Andrew here, does he come in, Russ, when that window opens and say, I can run to the end here, I'm just not going to have to battle, I'm going to try to beat him here in the pits?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, you know, you could either try to short pit or, you know, run long and hope you can get into your pit box. It's going to be another thing. You know, this pit road has got a kind of an odd entrance, you know, so it's kind of on a straightaway, and then you have to make that tight turn onto pit road. So your one pit stop that you're going to have to make is going to be key. So if you feel like you're really comfortable with being able to get out of pit road, get in and out of your box with no problems, you feel like you can do it better than other drivers, you could definitely make up some spots there on pit road.
Yeah, that might be what he's going to have to do, because I do believe if he decides, now he's going to shoot over to the right-hand side. Andrew's going to give him some room. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to make that pass. He's going to loop it.
Like I said, trying to force yourself to do something you were not comfortable doing yet, and man, that bit Gary just a little bit right there.
Yeah, he's going to lose about 3 or 4 seconds now. Let's go back here to another crash that has happened. Marquis is just having a night under heavy braking. He's going to get those tires locked up and get back around. He's going to save the front end of that car. What has happened? Oh, he's going to turn left and get into the wall. Here's the 94 machine. Yep, just up that turn, under braking. Man, these cars just so hard to hang on to at this Sonoma track.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, it's such a technical road course to run, and with these next gens, and especially with this new tire model, they changed the tire model with the latest update, and these cars are a little bit more of a handful to drive now, even on ovals, let alone trying to get them around on these road courses. So drivers definitely struggling here tonight. We see Court Crowell going for a little bit of a ride.
Yeah, he really did. And again, just you cannot abuse those curbs with these cars. And some of these drivers, you can tell, Russ, they're used to those GT3 cars, they're used to the GTP. Like, you can really get up on the curbs, really abuse those curbs and help you rotate. And with these cars, they're so stiff. Whatever you do to the front end of that car, it affects the back end, and these things are just hopping around and getting loose on these drivers. But that is what the beauty of these road courses are, is just really being able to work your throttle, work your trail braking, and these races, there's not going to be a caution, Russ. So any mistake you make is so much higher, as now we can see, since we have some air between these drivers, it looks like Bowman's starting to run Teft back down. So it does look like he's got the faster car, but having a faster car and making a pass are two very, very different things.
Especially, in these cars, you gotta make your plan of attack well in advance and try to set it up and hope it sticks and works. But running these road courses, like you said, going back to these drivers who are used to running the GT3s and GTPs, stuff like that, you can really tell, who has the road experience. As we're taking a look here at James McCray, obviously he's put a lot of time in. Not sure if he runs those other road type of cars or not, but it really goes to show who has the ability to adapt to the different road courses here. It looks like James has got it figured out here so far.
Man, and what a great addition to Racers Elite is McCray this season. Kind of come out of nowhere, hopped into this league. You and I know him. We've seen him race before. We knew he would be great, but man, to see how quick he has been on every track, including these road courses, is really a wake-up call, I think, to some of these other drivers that say, hey, it's not just your normal suspects. You're always going to have fast drivers in your defending champion of Teft. They're in that 98. You still have, Gary Bowman's. You still have the Curtis Eckers and the Troy Thomases, but you've got another driver in the Truth Hoax. I mean, we could go right down the line, right? Chris Pendell with a great run last week, but you've got another driver here in this 27 car that is going to fight you every single week, and he's going to bring a good car out, and you're going to have to beat him. And he's just another person that creates that atmosphere, Russ, where you got to step your game up just a little bit to be able to outrun this guy.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, we've known James for a little bit now, even outside of Racers Elite here, and we've seen him be strong in other races and other leagues and stuff. We've seen him in the good times, we've seen him in the bad times, but always a contender. And for him to come out, and join Racers Elite and to be able to put on the type of show that he's put on in these first 4 races so far, it's really going to show, they're going to really prove the testament to where he's going to be later in the season.
Yeah, he is going to be. Now, he is your current points leader without a win. If everything holds serve right now, we are not even halfway through this race, but he will come out of here if he holds serve here with a substantial lead and a guaranteed spot in your 4 races that are going to be for your championship run. You've got to think, man, he has come out here and put himself on the map as your driver to beat, I think, this season. Now, I think as we go along, Russ, there are other tracks in our schedule that are going to favor some other drivers. So there is some talent on every one of these tracks that we're going to go to for the rest of this year.
You definitely, you definitely kind of got to put James McRae at the top of the target board, because right now he's just proven that he's going to be the driver to beat just about anywhere you go.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Now, I will tell you another great drive, and we have seen this driver run for seasons now, but his road racing ability has gotten better and better every single time that we've seen him. Troy Thomas, again, like we talked about before, he does have a GT3 league on Mondays that he runs, that he has some of these same drivers that are out there racing that tracks. And he has shown a lot of growth. I think at Watkins Glen, I remember him racing last season, or maybe even the season before that. He put a fantastic run at the Glen in these next-gen cars. It just looks like he's very comfortable running his pace, Russ. He's still, again, some laps he's quicker, some laps he's a bit slower. But, man, I mean, it just seems like he's getting better and better every single race that we go to on these road courses.
Absolutely. Like I said before, I've raced with him on these road courses, and he's really impressed me with his ability to just kind of, like you said, run his own race. He just run within his own comfortability level and just kind of lets everybody else make their mistakes, let them overdrive or lock up under braking. He just runs where he is comfortable, and it's proven to be really successful for him on these road courses throughout these different leagues and different seasons that we watched him run.
Yeah, I agree with that. As now Pendel is starting to put some pressure on the back end of Bryce, because it does look like we saw Pendel going off earlier on in this race. He has rebounded. He is up to 8th. Now he's putting some pressure on the back end of Bryce. So he has started to rebound really nicely. Again, just a fantastic run by him last week. I just feel like last week there was no stopping that driver. Now he's going to lock up those brakes and slide through this last turn. But, Russ, I felt like he was just in another zip code last week.
Yeah, last week I don't think there was anybody that had anything for him from the time he unloaded from the hauler. I mean, he was just so locked in, just so dominant. But, I was talking to him before the race tonight, too, and he was like, definitely don't pick me because I am not good at road courses. So, another one of them drivers that's, not really comfortable out there, but it looks like maybe he might be coming into one of his own little, rhythms and working his way around here as we see somebody get around there in front of him. Wasn't sure who that was.
Yeah, it was Bryce. It looked like in that 30 car. He over-rotated the exit of that turn. That is going to put him back another position and almost fighting for that 9th spot, because it looks like Truth Hoke is coming now. But he did rotate that car over. Now, that is going to move Pendel up another position, up to 7th. So really not a bad run for this driver that claims to not be a great road course racer, but he has found a nice little rhythm here, and he is turning the wick up. Let's go back and take a look at Eric Howard, as he is now showing as crash. Now, he's coming down, going up this elevation again, Russ.
Looks like he's just back on the throttle a little too hard too soon and moved it around.
Yeah, it's so difficult in these next gens when you unload that suspension and you start to put throttle back down. It all shifts back to that rear tires, and if you are not ready to catch that car, it is going to do that to you every time. Let's see what happened to Trevor here, as he is right in front of your 3rd place driver. Man, Gary, all over the back end.
Out of the way.
Yeah, he's just going to get out of the way, it looks like, and just slow down. and let these two drivers move on. Now, there you have it. Troy Thomas, he is going to be your first one coming down pit road. He's going to try to split this right in the middle. What I want to see here, Russ, is if he is going to take tires. Because, again, if you take tires, it's going to be 5, 6, 7 seconds longer than fuel only. I believe Thomas is enough of a veteran where he is not going to change tires unless that temp is so high here, he just feels like he needs to do this.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the tire wear was like. Looks like he's at least taking right sides.
He is taking right sides, at least. Let's see if the left sides go up. He is. He is going to take 4 tires here, Russ. That is a very interesting strategy there by Troy. Now, he is down and out quickly. That is interesting. We will watch these other drivers and see what happens.
The biggest thing is going to be those cold tires right now, and trying to make sure he maintains those until they come in.
Yeah, now down at your right-hand corner, we're going to pop up a dash display for you. It's going to tell you the gearing and the mile per hour that these drivers are in as they pace this track. And you're going to see this really hard right-hander is now Dennis Kane is going to start battling with the 92 machine. It looks like Jurgen getting some more pace down, starting to work his way up. He is in 5th. Dennis Kane now in 4th since you have Troy Thomas pitting. That's going to flip, Russ, once they have to go down pit road. But this is a nice little battle none the same.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't talked much about Dennis tonight, but looks like he's been holding his own here as we see him coming down pit road. We also see Andrew Teft and Gary Bowman both on pit road.
Yeah, let's see if we can go take a look at these drivers. Now, here you go. It is Bowman right behind Teft. They're going to come down at that same time. Does anybody have tires going up? Yes, they are both changing right sides, which I would assume that means they're going to change lefts as well.
It was left side. Yeah, so it must be the tire wear is really, really drastic here. I mean, guys didn't really say much about tire wear through practice, but yeah, it must be tires are going to be a commodity here.
Yeah, that is very, very interesting. Now they're going to come out, and Teft is going to get in front of the 30. The 30 is going to be right in front of Gary Bowman. So now it looks like there is a car between Teft and Bowman. Gary coming out of the pits very nicely, really tied onto the back end of the 98 machine, but that 30 is going to split these two drivers and create a bit of distance. So a little bit of breathing room for Teft, but now he's got to worry about the 30 on his bumper.
Yeah, with those new tires that they just got, you know, Andrew's going to have to really mind the throttle here. And, you know, the 30 of Bryce definitely got the more worn tires, so he's a little bit more comfortable being able to make some faster passes. But you see the leader, James McCray, on pit road now.
Yeah, it does look like, Russ, everybody's going to change 4, so the tire wear must be pretty severe here at Sonoma, as he's going to be down and off. Now, with James and such the large lead that he had, I would have expected him to take some tires. I just feel like maybe that 2nd and 3rd place, you know, Gary Bowman or Teft, you know, maybe trying to jump Troy might have thought, man, maybe no tires is the way to go here. But it looks like James is on and off of pit road, and he is struggling to get some temperature in these tires.
Yep, like I said, we know, you know, it's going to take a few laps for the tires to come in, so you're going to have to be really mindful. You know, we saw Troy Thomas come down just a little bit earlier than James. We're going to have to watch and see what that gap's going to be like, see if now that Troy's got a lap or two under those tires, if he's going to be able to start maybe making a run on to James, while James is having to try to baby into them tires till they come in.
Yeah, 21 laps is now your to go. Like now it shows that Kirby Wainscott has crashed. Let's go back and take a look. Looks like this 10 machine, he is having a tough night as well.
Yeah, I was watching on mine over here. It looks like he was just getting out of the way of those 3 guys as they were trying to get around him going through the corner here.
Yeah, he's going to do the same thing. Just pull way off to the left there. That is going to allow everybody to go around. It does look like the 30 getting loose. The 30 is really loose on entry of a lot of these turns.
Tires,
yeah, he does have that might very well be it. McCray with a little bit of a lockup. He is going to get around now. We are going to try to recycle this thing, and let's see if we can pop this back up. Now it looks like it's going to be about a 10-second gap between McRae and Thomas, first and second. And then behind that is going to be Pindell. Now, Pindell has done something here to get himself into third position. But my goodness, this battle back here, it has not stopped all race long, Russ, and it just continues to go on.
Yeah, Gary definitely not letting Andrew out of his sights, but that 94, we're going to have to see him come down pit road, I think. I don't think I've seen Chris come down pit road yet, so this is still just a battle for P2, I believe, but yep, Gary just not letting Andrew get too far away.
It does look like Andrew is a lot better down the S's, so you're changing that elevation going down the track. As you can see now, everybody there in fourth gear. You see Andrew in fourth gear. He's going to get about 130 before he has to start braking. But let's just watch and see where they go on this hairpin. Now it looks like the 94 Pindell is going to come down pit road. So they're going to go all the way down to about 45. I thought I saw 45. And second gear as they get through that hairpin turn. Now it does look like that is clean track. 19 laps to go. Andrew Teft holding on to third. Gary Bowman in fourth. He wants a spot at that podium.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these laps are going to wind down, and eventually Gary's patience is going to run out. And, you know, we're going to see him start really trying to send it in certain areas on Andrew to try to get this pass done so he can try to start pulling away, because it does look like Gary's got just a little bit more speed and around here than what Andrew does. It looks like Andrew hopped that corner just a little bit, allowed Gary to get right to his bumper.
Yeah, it was so close. I was starting to gear up. I was starting to get amped up right there, Russ, because I thought maybe when the 98 hopped that curb, Bowman was going to have some momentum. He did not. He was able to save that. Now, just like you said, the 98 is going to try to make that car as wide as possible. I don't know if he can hold this 29 off. I mean, we got 19 more laps to go. We are barely over halfway in this race, so I don't know if he's going to be able to hang on to it. But, man, he is doing a fantastic job so far.
Yeah, Gary's going to have to start, you know, really looking to see him taking a little bit of a dive to the inside here through the hairpin. Going to try to make this pass work. They're going to drag race down the front straightaway. Gary's going to get that pass done finally.
Yeah, that's a fantastic job there by Gary. So patient to get by Andrew. I think Andrew kind of let him have that inside line. I believe that Andrew knew he was not going to be able to hold him off. Now, let's see what this driver now in third position is going to be able to do. Does he have the speed to start stretching this out over the 98 and maybe track down your second place driver of Troy Thomas that now has a 12-second gap between him and McRae. McRae, just a lap ago going purple, Russ, 16:04 to all of these drivers that looks like they're turning mid-16s and mid-17s.
Yeah, it looks like James just kind of on a planet of his own right now, just kind of setting sail and running his own race. But you know, now that Gary's got this pass done on Andrew, he's got about 7 seconds there to Troy to try to run him down. And we're gonna see how much speed he's got, see how quick he can get away from Andrew and start running down Troy.
Yeah, he has got a nice little hot rod tonight. Now, like you said, he's about 7.5 seconds, 7.3 seconds behind your second place driver. We're going to keep an eye on these lap times. We don't have a full lap time just yet on Gary all out here by himself. He does have a lap car, but let's see if we can, we're going to hide this and see if we can pull up maybe a battle box where we can start to look at these gaps. There you go, and you have it right now. Gary Bowman right there. That next driver in front of him is Bryce. Bryce 2.5 seconds ahead. Now Troy is 6.5 seconds, and Bryce is going to go off track once again. Let's go back and take a look at that. We didn't see that. Looks like he just went straight. Oh, he's just going to get loose. Man, he is having a tough night here, and he's just going to alt F4 and just get out of this thing and call it a night.
Yeah, you can only do that too many times before you just say, all right, I've had enough.
All right, so Bowman, last lap, 16:85. Your second place driver, 17.14. So he is faster, Russ. Now, does he have enough time? 16 laps to go, 6.5 seconds. We just had a conversation with 7.5 seconds. So he is definitely coming. It looks like maybe a little overdrive here in the hairpin. definitely some overdrive, but it does look like he has started to cut into that lead here that Troy Thomas has for second position.
Yeah, Gary definitely driving away from Andrew up just over 2 seconds over Andrew now, so definitely pulling away from him. So that the speed's definitely showing. Now it's showing about a 5 point, almost a 5.5 second gap between him and Troy Thomas for P2. So yeah, I think it's going to be before too long, and Troy's going to have to start really looking out his rearview mirror because he's going to end up seeing Gary Bowman before too long.
Yeah, he was pushing a little bit. Now, I do think that maybe Troy had to get by that 55, slowed him down, but you can almost see down that straightaway, you can see Gary Bowman coming around right now. And folks, if you look on the right-hand side, you can see that track map for all of these drivers, and that is by position. So we are highlighting your second place driver. That's why I circled in green for 2. You can see that third place driver about half a straightaway behind him right now. That gap, it looks like, is going to be about 5.5 seconds as he is now looking to get around Curtis Ecker. So he's putting a couple of lap cars between him and Gary. But, man, you got to know with 15 to go, there is still a ton of time for that third place driver to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, there's 15 to go, and there's still plenty of time for anything to happen. I mean, you know, we're talking, you know, anything can happen. The leader could go off track, not saying that I want it. You know, anything can happen in these 15 laps because, you know, this track is so tricky that you can never count yourself into a good position until that checkered flag falls.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Now, last lap, a 17.2 by your second place driver, a 16.9. So again, about 0.3 of a second. It's going to have to be a little bit better than that, Russ, if he's going to want to catch this driver by the end of this race. But he was a bit quicker, as now we show Hayden as wrecked on track. Let's see what happened to Hayden. Just over rotating. Just a lot of front brake in these cars. And they're just over rotating.
Right in front of?
Yeah.
That was right in front of our race leader. So, like I said, anything could happen.
you know, McRae has got to be thinking, come on, guys. 13.9 seconds the gap now between McRae and Thomas. So he has checked out the big battle, and the big thought is going to be the difference between the third place driver of Gary Bowman once he has gotten past Andrew Teff and your second place drivers. Now Bowman is going to run a 16.4, Russ, to Troy's 17.7, so 1.3 seconds. Gary Bowman cut into that gap between him and your second place driver.
Yeah, Gary's definitely got the speed, but he's going to have to deal with these lap cars that Troy had to deal with, and hopefully none of them give him any problems and let him battle it out with Troy here. But man, these laps are winding down, and any kind of a holdup is going to really hurt your ability to catch up.
Yeah, I agree with that. As now he's got that 7-Eleven machine right in front of him, and that is Trevor. I think he's going to make quick work. He did get bypassed and put in the rearview mirror Truth Hoke, and who was right behind Truth, Curtis Ecker. So he did get by those two drivers. Now he's got this 7-Eleven. I think he's going to dispatch him right here, as you can see him come into that hairpin, really heavy down in the braking, getting that done. So now he's going to have some clean track ahead of him to try to run down that driver. But like you said, Russ, that's going to cost him about half a second to maybe 0.7 of a second that lap, because the gap back up to 5.5 seconds now.
Yeah, coming, we're 13 laps to go, and it's going to take a little bit for him to get up there. See Andrew Teff going off track just a little bit. Oh, then gets into the hairpin just a little too hot, spins it around.
Yeah, and really what happened right there is he got off track and got a lot of debris, marbles on those tires. So then when he had to go under braking, he just over-rotated that car and spun that thing around. Now, he did not lose a position, but he did lose a ton of time. Let's see what happened to Kirby once again. We have seen this driver a lot tonight for the wrong reasons, unfortunately. But it looks like, again, he's just going to get out of the way. Man, what a really smart drive by that driver. He just knows where his abilities are, and he's just trying to stay out of the way.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, at least he's out here competing, but he's not putting himself in the way of any kind of really bad situations. He's just kind of moving out of the way, letting guys go, and just trying to get this race over with and move ahead to next week.
That's right. Now let's see what happens. 17.21 was your last lap. Now, we talked about that being about 5.5 seconds, but it is down, Russ. 4.4 seconds now is your gap between Gary and the second place driver of Troy Thomas. So Troy is getting run down, and he is having a difficult time trying to get by this 91 car. He finally does that, and he is back at it. But man, you can see now almost in the same picture, here comes this 29 car.
Yeah, that's the hard thing is when you got those lap traffic. That lap traffic, it's difficult to get by them, and you can lose a lot of time really quick. And like we said, if we just barely see Gary there, now we can definitely see Gary there. So Gary is coming.
Man, now the gap between Troy and Gary, 2.1 seconds. So we thought this might be insurmountable, but it does look like Gary is coming in a big way. Let's see if the 91, yeah, he does give way quick to Bowman. Now, Bowman, this is about to be a fire. We are now about 1.6 seconds between your second place driver, Troy Thomas, and Gary Bowman. We are heating up with 11 laps to go.
Yeah, Gary is looking to run down Troy right now, try to get that second place, and Troy's trying to figure out how he can be able to hold him off. But if I know Troy, Gary gets to him, he probably won't hold him up much. He would rather get out of here with a P3 than to risk wrecking and finish outside the top 10 or something.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, I will tell you, Gary is just on another mission right now, Russ. 16:06, that lap time. I mean, that is the fastest lap time by far out of anybody on the track. So Bowman has found something later on in this race, really gotten himself comfortable, and he is turning some amazing lap times. So he is going to chew Troy up pretty quick here. Now, he's not going to have a chance. I think that gap's about 16 seconds, 18 seconds for Bowman to your leader, so that's not an option. But I will tell you, he has found something, and he is turning some laps. Last lap, McRae, 17.2. Last lap, Bowman, 16.0.
Yeah, definitely, Bowman's found that afterburner fired up, and he is running Troy down. And yeah, if he had more time or just a bit of a smaller gap, he'd be making a run for the win for sure. But James is just on cruise control right now as we speak.
Yeah, he really is. Now, that last lap, we're going to check our timing tower again. That last lap, McRae, he was at a 17.5. Just like you said, Russ, he's got such a big lead. He's just kind of off the throttle, relaxing right now. Don't let these lap times fool you. He could turn it up if he needed to, but he has about a 15.7 second lead. Now, the last lap, he turned a 17.5 to Troy's 16.6 out of traffic to Gary Bowman's 16.8. So he was about 0.3 faster, Troy was, than Gary that last lap. So now that lead that was about 1.5 seconds has ballooned up to 2.8. So it looks like when Troy is out in that clean air, he's able to turn some really quick lap times and start to spread that lead back out to Gary Bowman.
Either that or he was just kind of taking his own time there for a while, and then he saw Gary coming. He goes, well, I'm gonna have to turn it up just a little bit, try to maintain this gap. We're down here to 9 to go. I can't let this guy catch me.
Yeah, and turn it up, he definitely did. Now 2.5 is going to be your gap between your second place driver and your third place driver. 17.74 for McRae last lap. A 16.6 again for Troy, 17.3 for Bowman. So I think Bowman has slowed down a little bit, maybe made that push, got the tires a little hot. He's trying to cool it off, but it does look like he is starting to lose some time here to Troy Thomas.
Yeah, it could very well be. I mean, he might have burned his stuff up trying to get to Troy or something, or maybe he's just trying to save for the last couple lap push and hoping that maybe Troy burns his stuff up trying to drive away from him.
What do you think, Russ, that makes, if you were to put some key points on, what separates a oval driver from a road driver, or You know, what would make some of these guys that are on oval so good on road? What are some of the key things that you would think about that makes them so much different than some of your other oval drivers?
I mean, a lot of it, I think, comes down to the ability that you have to be able to manage your tires, manage your throttle control, and stuff like that. Being able to just drive to your own comfortability level. I mean, I've ran plenty of these road course races. I've tried to run them in the stock car. I am not good at running road courses in the stock car. Um, it's very difficult. So I mean, anybody that's able to put the time in and learn, number one, how to drive these cars around a road course, and be able to figure that fine balance between too much throttle and not enough throttle, is going to really see success. And I think some of it too also comes down to maybe even a driver's rig setup. Honestly, we see a lot of guys like in NASCAR today, like SVG. This guy comes in, and in his first full-time season in the Cup Series, he's got 4 road course wins. The dude is a road course ringer of all road course ringers. But you see the stylings that those types of drivers that come from like the Aussie V8s, supercars, they kind of do that heel toe brake clutch, or brake, clutch brake gas. And it could come even down to that. If you have the right setup on your rig and you are comfortable being able to do that heel toe, that could give you a really big edge too.
Yeah, that is true, and I think I think those are all fantastic points. And when you look at oval racing, I think it's rhythm based, and I really believe that road is rhythm based as well. But the rhythm base in oval is a bit different than the rhythm base in road. When you're in oval, a lot of the times on the majority of the tracks, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, not that much different. But once you get stuck in that rhythm, you can really hit those marks and you can be exact every turn. In road, I think you have to have that same thing, but every turn in road is different. If you have a lap that has 13 different turns, the braking points are different, the apexes are different, the throttle on the exit is different. I think it is everybody getting into that rhythm. And I believe some of those oval drivers that understand trail braking really well, max braking when you go to enter a turn and being able to trail off to maximize that apex speed. I think those are the drivers that you see really start to shine here on these road courses.
Yeah, I mean, trail braking, is a big thing. It's a big thing, and even like the GT3s and GTPs. I mean, the better you're able to manage your braking, and like you said, the trail braking, everything like that, the more speed you're going to be able to carry under more control through these corners. And it's definitely a lot more corners than the normal 4 that we're used to making lefts. But if you're able to manage that balance really, really well, it's going to benefit you in the long run at these road courses.
Well, I will tell you, this gentleman has done that fantastically. The 27 machine of James McRae, he won your poll. We saw him in practice. I didn't want to pick him, Russ, because I thought it to be a little bit on the nose if you picked the pole sitter. But, man, he has come out and just put on one heck of a show. Now we've got Truth Hoke as showing he has crashed. Let's see if we can go back and take a look at Truth.
Bill, again.
Yeah, that uphill, just while you're under braking, is so difficult. If that braking goes a little bit crazier, you're a little bit harder on the brakes than you should be, that car is going to kick completely sideways on you. But it does look like to me, Russ, maybe a little bit of a master cylinder change tonight would have helped some of these drivers. It just looks like they've got a lot of front brake in, and it's creating that over rotation on the back end under braking. So maybe they play with the master cylinder a little bit and they get a better braking result here as they're going up these hills.
Yeah, that's one of the big things too. That's why you want to put the laps of practice in before the race shows up, especially these one-off road course races. It's fine tuning that setup, figuring out your brake bias. How strong of a brake bias can you have? Your master cylinder set. Where's your brake even point on those to where you can be really strong. So, I mean, a lot of it can come down to the setup too, and having just the right setup to be able to outmaneuver other drivers.
Yeah, so here we go. I don't know what has happened to this driver. He turned a 119 last lap. That's Troy Thomas in that 3 machine. The 29 back over, but I thought we were kind of getting into that lull period where it looked like the 3 was able to turn some quicker lap times to the 29, spin and kind of stretch that lead out. But now back down to less than a second. 9/10 is going to separate your second and third place driver. All of this fighting going on about 16 and a half seconds behind your leader of James McRae.
Yeah, 4 laps to go. It's time to make something happen. Like you said, not sure if what happened to the 3 there where he lost so much time, but we got this battle raging back out again for P2.
Yeah, while this one rages on, we've got another one right here. Pindell has caught Dennis Kane. Dennis with a fantastic drive here, sitting in 5th position. Now it does look like Pindell in that 94 starting to creep back up, as now we show Andrew Teff with crashed on the field. Let's see what happened to Andrew. Coming to this hairpin right here, Russ.
Way too hot.
Yep. Just over rotating that. That is going to be a painful rotation. Now he's still going to have quite a bit of room. The 20 and the 55 are going to be beside of him right there, but I think he is firmly in that 4th place. But man, this battle for 5th is on. Pindell is in 6th. He wants it. Dennis Kane is in 5th. He wants to keep it. This is your closest battle here. As now he is all over him. He's going to touch him going up the uphill, getting ready to go through his S's. Dennis Kane is just going to pull over, I think, and let the 94 go by.
Yeah, probably not that, not a bad move right there, trying to still get out of here with a decent finish. And, we haven't talked much about Dennis Kane tonight, that number 4, but Chris Pindell definitely followed up there on that, headed in through that corner, and Dennis was just like, I'm just going to save my car.
Yeah, and it does look like, Russ, we do have a pass for that 2nd place. Gary Bowman was able to get by Troy. Let's see what happened. Troy shows that he crashed. So I want to go back and take a look at it here. Well in front of Bowman. He's going to come down to this hairpin. No, he's going to go into the S's. He's going to throw that wide. Oh, he's going to get up on the curb and get some impact there on the front end of that car.
That's a good night, good clean night for Troy Thomas, boarded here with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, now he is still in 2nd position with a large lead there on Andrew Teff. We saw Andrew rotate, on that last hairpin about 2 laps ago, so he does have about a 10-second lead now. I think what Troy needs to do is really just settle himself back in. Now, Gary Bowman finding his way up to 2nd. 18 seconds is the gap with McRae. But it does look like Troy, if he just calms himself down, is now Andrew again has showed that he has crashed here. It's going to be back on throttle. Yep. There it is. He's going to have to rotate. Now, that is going to give Troy, I believe, the breathing room that he is going to need. That is going to put Pindell much closer to Teff, but that's about a 15-second gap. So I think everybody, as long as they can hold serve here, Russ, with just a few laps to go, I think everybody is in the positions that they need to be in. 2 to go here. Troy Thomas now firmly in 3rd, Bowman firmly in 2nd, and we know McRae just on a different planet so far tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got 2 to go. Your gaps are pretty big, so it's just maintain and get out of here with a decent finish for Gary Bowman and Troy Thomas. But yeah, James McRae just on a totally different planet, running his own race, just checking out from the field from the get-go, never looking back, having a dominant race here tonight at Sonoma.
Yeah, and you're going to come over here to the start-finish line. This gentleman now is going to take your white flag final lap. James McRae in this 27. You're a pole sitter. You're fastest in practice, just working his way through Sonoma and just, dominating. It looks like he is going to lap all the way up to about the 6th place here as Dennis Kane running in 6th, about a minute and 2 up the track from your 27 machine. But what can you say other than, man, welcome to Racers Elite. Way to put on a great half of the season. Now the second half, you're going to pick up a win for yourself. and you're going to lock yourself into those playoffs. I mean, what a great introduction here, Russ. Is this a car to beat this year?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, he's shown, we've ran different types of tracks already this season, and he's shown that he could be competitive just about anywhere you go. And putting on a clinic here tonight, and yeah, definitely somebody that we may have slightly overlooked at the beginning of the season when we picked our championship drivers. But James McCray having a great run here tonight, going to come through this hairpin, pick up his first win of the season, and lock himself into the Racers Elite playoffs.
So your points leader now coming to the start-finish line at Sonoma. He is going to pick up a win here at your road course. That 27 machine crossing that start-finish line. He is going to be first. Now, Gary Bowman, he is going to come through the hairpin. A 23-second gap between him and the first place, but really waiting on some of those drivers. Troy Thomas making that mistake. Andrew Teff making that mistake. Being patient all night long. Gary Bowman in that 29 is going to come home in second position. Fantastic job there. And then Troy Thomas, Russ, is going to round out your top three, as now him in traffic is going to come around with some damage on that left front and wind up in your third position.
Drivers, I mean, James McCray pulling a SVG-esque type of run here tonight, dominating this field, winning by over 20 seconds. Great runs for Gary Bowman and Troy Thomas here tonight. Congrats to the podium finishers.
Fantastic job. Now, Chris Pindell and Dennis Kane, they were knotted up, but it does look like Pindell is going to get by in fifth. Kane is going to stay there in sixth. We saw Kane give up that position a little bit earlier there to Pindell. Started to stay and pull back a little bit closer, but he is going to wind up in sixth, as we are going to wait now for all of these drivers to come across. Let's see if we can hide this track map for all of you, and then we're going to pop up your results for the race here. And as we talked about, James McCray is going to be your winner. Gary Bowman in second. Troy Thomas there in third. Andrew Teft in fourth. Pindell is going to be in fifth. Dennis Kane in sixth. Jurgen in seventh. Corey in eighth. Truth in ninth. And Hayden Malcolm is going to be in 10th.
Yeah, Curtis Second is going to come home in P11. Eric Howard in 12th. Kirby Wainscott, he had quite the rough night tonight too, bringing it home 13th. Trevor's going to come home 14th. And then Bryce is going to be 15th. Rob in 16th. Kensley in 17th. Aaron Marquis 18th. Ira Cole Haas and Alan Bergen calling it off early tonight. Going to round out the field 19th and 20th.
Hey, you can't be mad about 20 drivers coming out here and competing tonight. Fantastic job by all of these drivers. Now, as always, it is time to go back and see if we can find some of our drivers here. And let's see if we can look to let's see who we've got in the waiting room. Oh,
Looks
we've
like
got everybody.
ready
All right,
to
let's see if we can get a hold of Troy, as it looks like he is having a little extracurricular fun. So let's see if we can get a hold of Troy real quick. And I'm going to see if I can bring him up into the booth. Troy, this is John and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
I sure do, gentlemen.
Well, man, you were Russ's pick tonight. Started second on the field. You had a fantastic run. It just looked like, you probably couldn't see what was happening behind you, but it looked like Bowman had a really quick car. Once he got by Teft, he started to run you down a little bit. Maybe a bit of a bobble, a couple of bobbles brought Gary right to your bumper, but man, a fantastic third place. You finished with some left front damage, but man, walk me through this track on the next gens and how difficult it is to drive this car.
This is one of the most difficult road courses in this car, I think. I mean, it's so technical. I mean, you just got to be, you can't get on the throttle. It's like, the eggshell technique, basically. But the first time he caught me, my computer monitor froze, so that was awful. And then the second time, I just hit too much gas and just looped her around.
Well, I will tell you, man, overall, I would think it was, except for those mistakes, that one little loop, You put on a heck of a show. There were some times where not only were you matching McRae's lap times, but you were a little bit quicker than him. So I thought really that was going to be a good battle. Now, one of the questions that I have, and we will probably ask this to all of the drivers, but did you think about maybe not taking tires and just fuel only?
Yes, I did, and like, man, because there was some tire fall off, so I was like, man, we've got a big enough gap between, I think we had I had a 7 second lead over Andrew when I pitted, so you said like, well, screw it, we'll just put tires on it.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, man, you really come up with a fantastic. Anytime you can get a podium, I don't care what track it is a good night. And Troy, you did a heck of a job. I always call you a short track ace, but man, you showed and you do have a GT3 league on Monday night, so don't forget to talk about that. But you have really shown to be one of the tougher drivers on road courses. So Troy, fantastic job, man. We'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, just I want to thank you all for broadcasting this. I know how much goes into it. Andrew for putting the league on. Like I said, we got GT3 league starting Monday night. So anybody interested in that, just see that it's Atlantic Coast Racing. Check the Discord. We have a Facebook page and website. So go check us out. We start Monday night at 6:30 practice, race at 7:30. So thank my wife for letting me do this and keep my father-in-law in prayers. He's not doing well. He's in the ICU. So this one's for him.
Well, I got you, and we do wish you good luck and good health to you and all of your family. So we certainly appreciate it, Troy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, so there is your third place driver, and I want to see if I can bring Mr. Bowman in, and then I will let you have a quick conversation with McRae. So let's see if we can bring Bowman in. Gary, this is John and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. How you doing tonight?
Hey, man, we're doing great. Well, listen, I've been looking forward to talking to you all the way since Cyber Thunder, man. So, fantastic job tonight. You were my pick to win, by the way, because I've actually raced against you in road, and I knew how quick and steady you were. You did that again tonight. You really hit your marks. Walk me through kind of what it's like to drive the next gen here at Sonoma and how you were able to navigate this track.
Yeah, really just got to watch that tire spin. And yeah, I was running third gear, like past the start finish line. I'd get down to third going up the hill and just stay in third all the way down to going down to that sharp right. And that was helping a lot, saving the wheel spin coming out of the turns. Yeah, that's about it. That's the main thing I was trying to do, and just hit my marks and be smooth, not overdrive the corners. And yeah, I really liked that. Coming up the hill, I could kind of downshift, and it would help me turn in a lot easier and wrap that top right hander on top of the hill. So I think I was making a lot of time up there. So, but fortunately, couldn't keep up with James tonight.
Yeah, it seemed like he was on another planet, but when you talked about the uphill, I think when Russ and I were here broadcasting, that uphill was the most difficult spot. It just seemed like a lot of drivers potentially downshifting and braking, just really getting loose and almost sliding through the left-hander and sliding all the way up through that first right-hand turn, all the way up the hill. And man, that cost you 5, 6, 7 seconds. And it just looked like the more steady the cars were, the more under control the drivers were tonight. It certainly helped them out, as it did you, bringing home a second place finish. Man, it does look like you are going to be in great position for these last 4 races here of the championship when you get in there. And it looks like those are really tracks that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, I like this track. Once you get in your rhythm, then everything kind of smooths out for you. But you're right, you got to be steady on your entry and just stay smooth through the turns and all that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the last tracks here in the season. Should do pretty good.
Yeah, well, you did a fantastic job tonight, Gary. Way to bring home a second place finish. We'll turn it over to you and let you give your shout outs.
I gotta give a shout out to my beautiful wife who puts up with me in sim racing, and my teammate Ed, and you guys for doing such a great job with the broadcast. I'll watch it back later with beer, so I should have some fun.
We
All
appreciate
right,
that.
you guys have a great night.
All right,
Thanks.
thanks, Gary. All right, Russ. So there is your second place driver. Now let's see if we can pull in your winner and the man to speak to tonight, and that is going to be Mr. McRae. James, this is John and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Got my mic working in time. this week.
Well, man, I was gonna say, we've been talking about you all season. You come back, coming here to Races Elite. You've just kind of been, really competitive every single week so far this season, and you able to leapfrog your way up to the top of the leaderboard in points, and now with a as I called it earlier, an SVG esque style win here tonight, winning by over 20 seconds, securely locking yourself into the playoffs here. Take us back through your race and how much time did you put in here at Sonoma, because we know this is a very technical track, especially with these next gens. How much time did you put in prior to this race to be able to get yourself into a comfortable position to be able to put on such a dominating performance tonight?
Well, I guess yeah, I did practice a lot. I hopped in Sunday night and I sucked at it, and I practice every every night since.
Well, it definitely showed. I mean, like I said, it was over a 20-second lead. You just kind of like in a league of your own here tonight. So now that you're locked into the playoffs and you're going to battle for a championship over those last four races, what's your mentality moving forward as the season progresses?
I just still keep doing the best I can. There's still a regular season championship to vie for. Can't let off because I know that we got some fast guys in here, and yeah, just keep going.
Try to get as many points as you can. Well, man, it was a dominating performance. Locked yourself into the playoffs. We'll go ahead and turn it over to you and let you give any shout outs. And
Yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting this. Um, yeah, and admins and everybody for putting the league together and uh, getting every sponsors and everything. Um, and yeah, my mom out there watching, girlfriend, for footing up with me as I practice all week.
well, man, you've proven that all that practice pays off, and a dominating win here tonight. And we'll see if we talk to you again next week, hopefully.
Alrighty, thank you. Take care.
Thanks, James.
Well, I will tell you, Russ, he might not be amazing at interviews, but my goodness, he's fantastic on the track. What a great job by this driver. And he's going to get better as the season goes along. He kind of disappears for a while and he pops back up, and just a fantastic drive here by McRae at this road course. Kind of something, Russ, I think maybe I didn't see coming from McRae. I knew he was good on ovals. I didn't know he was this good on road courses.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, he ran something here the other night and felt like he completely sucked. So he just took the time and he put the laps and practice in, and a lot of times you come to these one-off races like this, and that's really where the practice shows. You put the laps in more than anybody else, and you got a better feel. You can put yourself in the same position James found himself in here tonight, and like you said, we know he's good on ovals, but now he's shown that he's definitely willing to put the time in to be good on road too. So definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with here for this championship, and we'll see how he continues to progress as this season moves forward.
Well, he certainly brought home the victory. Your points leader is going to bring home a win tonight at Sonoma. He is going to increase that points lead. We'll have that for you next week, along with a fantastic job by Gary Bowman and Troy Thomas for rounding out your top three tonight. Next Gen Series Thursday nights on Racers Elite Network. Russ, thank you very much for being in the booth with me, and we're going to do this thing again next week. We're going to bring you some more fantastic action.
To it. Thanks everybody for watching.